Welcome, everyone. Welcome. And thank you once again for being with us on this journey. I know that I am saying thank you every single time. The reason why is because I know how valuable your time is. So thank you so much for investing it with us. Our special guest today is Luke Calladine. Welcome, Luke. Thank you so much for being again with me, because I know this is not the first time we are meeting in this context.
Thank you so much for inviting me on this documentary. I'm really honored to share everything that I've gone through on my own personal journey and my own story, just so I can help change the world in a better way and to fully connect to my vision. So yeah, thanks again. And yeah, I can't wait for this.
I'm also looking forward. I know that you have many life lessons that I am looking forward hearing more about. Luke is from Derby, UK, living in Mallorca. Luke connects people through events and gatherings. He's a coach that specializes in helping others release their limiting beliefs and fears so they can create their dream life and connect to their vision. And all it takes is resetting all the foundations in every area of your life. I am honored to have you with me, Luke. And I would like to start right away with our interview by asking you, what is your story? What did you go through that led you to this path of personal development and helping others achieve their dream life?
So yeah, initially it's quite a long story for me, but I'll try and say it in the best way I can. Essentially, when I was around 19 years old, I was living in the UK. I was living in Derby. I was living like a normal 9-to-5 job, and you know, I was working all week and I had time on the weekend, but I thought there's got to be more to life than just working and then, you know, maybe getting drunk on the weekend. So I was always looking to explore new opportunities, and that's what led me to Mallorca. And one of the reasons why I went there was because it said it was one of the best paid resorts. And then for many years, I did a lot of direct in-person sales with people for about 7 years. I became a sales manager. And then I became a 50-50 partnership in owning a business, which was for tourism, and it was selling a lot of parties and other kind of events. But then eventually I got too repetitive. Everything was just happening the same over and over again. And even though I had an amazing life, I was traveling to Australia and Asia and all these amazing places in the world, but I didn't feel like properly fulfilled within me. So I was kind of questioning it a little bit more. And that's when I discovered some plant medicines. And when I started to meet more people that were more open-minded, it kind of took me about 3-4 years to properly change. But after I did a lot of healing from within me, because I did have many addictions for many years, but when I got to the root of the addictions and healed that, then it kind of took me a long 2 years to reprogram all the subconscious beliefs, to change my attachments to relationships, to change my environment, to change my career. And I went through that, but then it was about 2 years ago when I put all of my energy into myself and to constant change and to connect into my purpose and my vision and how I can help other people. So now I'm just trying to do it in the best way that I can. I'm doing a lot of things where I connect people together. We have a lot of other events for connecting healers, facilitators, coaches. And then also in my own personal time, I'm doing one-to-one coaching as well. So when I combine that together, it really gives me that feeling of connected to my heart, of being fulfilled, and just really having a big purpose within my life as well. So yeah.
This is really impressive. Thank you so much, Luke. And I am touched and honored to have you here with me. I know that not many people are living what you are living. And it's quite impressive to go through all this experience and really working with yourself to identify what you want. And my question for those who are listening to us would be, how do we identify this purpose? How do you really go deep down inside yourself? What does it mean? How can we really identify our true nature and how we would like to live our life?
Yeah, well, for me, it was quite a bit of a journey because I read quite a lot of books. I seen quite a lot of information online, but I felt like it was quite overwhelming because there's so much out there. So for me, I kind of just took the only thing that I knew at the time that was helping with people. And the way it kind of worked with finding my purpose and getting really clear on that was I went through this journey of just going all in with the thing that I only knew in that moment. And then whenever I did that, it's like the universe was always guiding me to something else. It's like when I talk about it to other people, it's like your life purpose won't just come to you on a silver platter. It's like you have to work for it. You have to put your energy into it. And what happened was I must have gone through about 8 different things before I got to my big vision or my big purpose. So it's like it was always directing me from one place to another, but then it would always open an even bigger door each time. And I realized an even bigger part of me stopping me from accessing my purpose was fear. And the fact that whenever I was going through these big fears within my life, every time I went through my big fears, I would always get in an opportunity where I could go through an even bigger fear. And then it would open me up to more knowledge and more information and more connection to my purpose. But some of the fears was relating to my past traumatic experiences. And I didn't want to share this with the world because I was fearing what people might think or what my family might judge of me and, things like that. But eventually, when I was able to speak my truth and talk about my past, it means that people was able to connect to me and resonate with me because they might be going through something similar. But when I went through these fears, it was never like how I thought it was in the mind. And then it just always put me in that gradual process so I could connect to it as well. And I think it's important to combine the fears with working on the limiting beliefs. And it honestly can take a long time to change the beliefs, because if we think about it, 95% of our day is subconscious. And if we've been living that pattern for 20 years, think about it, it can take quite a bit of time. So I think it's just having patience and having trust and cultivating that within you until you just keep looking out for them like signs and synchronicities that make everything a little bit more clearer as well.
Thank you so much, Luke. I really enjoy this because I am learning so much and you give me this energy that anything is possible. And this is something I truly believe in, that we can actually design our life. We can create a better world and a better life for ourselves. And I know that there are so many people out there who are not doing it yet. And you mentioned that there is fear. And you are the example, the role model, if I can say it, of overcoming your fears, of taking action despite the fear. And I would like to ask you, do you have a method, do you have a technique, a tool that we could apply to do that whenever we feel that fear?
Yeah, so the way I see it is, it's like with the fears, it's really having awareness of even the micro fears in your daily routine. So even if you have like a micro fear of approaching someone in the street, like randomly that you don't even know, or let's say you have a fear of an animal, or let's say you have a fear of even forgetting your keys or forgetting something from the shop, that's still like a micro fear. But when we have awareness on the smaller fears, and let's say we start to work with the smaller fears, because put it this way, if you approach someone on the street, and it might be a big fear, which it was for me because I had a lot of social anxiety, but it's important to know that everybody's fear is so different. So it's not about comparing yourself to somebody else's fear, but as you're going through these fears, the smaller fears will then allow you to go to the even bigger fears. Because when I let go of my old career and went into a business that I didn't know I was going to make money, that was really scary. And also sharing my truth, that was really scary. But comparing it to the social interaction in the street, it was such a big, vast difference. So I think it's important to acknowledge all of the fears in your own reality and what you're experiencing with people, and to go through these basic fears before we go through the big one. Because if you don't go through the smaller ones, the big one's just going to see like one big massive mountain and we're going to be like, no, it's impossible. But if you think about it, we can just really think about the worst case scenario, what would happen of that fear. And this happened to me before. I was locked up in a prison cell for 24 hours. And I eventually said the worst case scenario, to learn natural law would be to just spend a month in prison, because I'm not doing it for me, I'm doing it for other people. So when I accepted that fear, I was in so much fear still, but it helped me through it, because it's only the perception of the fear which makes us not see past the fear. Whereas if we then realize that fear is just false evidence appearing real, we can easily move through it. And also we can connect to our higher intelligence with like kinesiology or muscle testing. And if our body is telling us yes, even if it's so scary, you can still push yourself through it. Because every decision I made in the last 2 years, it never failed me, not once.
I love that. I love that. And I love your energy. I can feel how passionate you are about this topic. And because you are living it, actually, we can feel that you are growing every single day. And this is actually the secret, I would say, that we need to keep growing, and that there is a ritual that we can implement daily. As you mentioned, to focus on the small fears. And I love that actually I am going to do it myself, to really identify every single fear I have and then take on a bigger ones. And I would like to ask you, Luke, what do you think that people could do if they are in a career where they are not feeling fulfilled? They are feeling safe, maybe because of their salary, but they are not feeling content with what they are doing, their daily tasks, their energy level. And sometimes they feel frustrated. What can they do to get out? Because you have this experience already.
Yeah. The way I see it is, it's all about seeing where you're currently at in your own life. It's about seeing the right time to do things. But the way I see it is, just think of everything as an opportunity. So even if you have like a bad, let's say a bad experience in your career, we always think of it as a bad experience. But if maybe it's actually bringing us to a better experience. So say if we end up something happens in that career, we get fired, but then it opens us up to an even better door where we have a bigger opportunity. But I think it's also having awareness of taking action consistently every week, of what you really want to change within your life. It's writing things down. It's, if you have any ideas or inspiration, instead of keeping it in your mind and making your head grow more and more and causing more stress, if you write things down, we're more likely and more prone to actually take action for it. And I think it's also important to get someone to hold us accountable for our own actions, because if we're only doing it based on our own self and we're still stuck in that career that we've been doing for years, we're probably not going to change until we've got someone kicking us up the backside and, you know, saying, you know, maybe have that person at your side. And then if you say, I'm going to actively put 10 hours per week, every week towards something that I have passion about, and you could write something down. What is it that you really love to do? Write down all of your big personal experiences. It can be do with relations, it could be do with health, it could be do with fitness, anything that you've gone through in your life, write it down. And if you can talk about something so passionately without rehearsing it, that's where you can at least start. And instead of questioning it, just go with it. And then as you're doing this 10 hours per week, but you've still got a career that you don't like, you're still taking action into changing something new. So you don't have to do like me. I went in the deep end and I just quit it and I went all in, right? Because I had to do that. But it's about having awareness for yourself, but always increase that amount of hours every week. So you always want to be increasing. So if you're doing it for a month of 10 hours, maybe you increase to 15 hours or 20 hours. You always want to be transitioning into more where you're living less from that survival energy and something that you don't like or enjoy, and putting that energy more into the things that really fulfill you and keep you centered and really connect you in a way that you can, you know, help others or do something that can help change the world as well.
Thank you so much, Luke. Amazing. I am really impressed by all your knowledge and especially your experience, life experience, because this is something I learned a while ago, that there is something that we always say to ourselves, I know that I learned this already and I know it, I don't have to learn it again. And I learned this was with the Success Resources, that actually until you don't experience it, until you don't live it and you don't implement it, you don't really know it. And what I see from your life experience and from what you are explaining is that you are applying all of this. And this makes me think, do you think that at some point in time, we are going to be fully happy. We are never going to have problems or obstacles or challenges, because I know so many people who are on this path of personal development, and they have this idea: if I reach that point, I am going to be happy and I will never go back again. I don't have to deal with problems anymore. Do you think this is possible, or what is the reality actually?
Yeah, I do think it's 100% possible. I mean, I believe that I got to a point in my life where I surrendered all of my limiting beliefs. I went through all of my biggest fears. And I honestly got to points where I honestly thought like I was gonna die. Like I've had an experience walking up a road and cars running at me, and the universe is like, you have to keep going. And I honestly thought I was gonna die that day. So I've had some really, really powerful experiences with this. However, when I went through all my biggest fears, I've got to a point now where I can be so present. I can really enjoy the process. And I honestly don't have any kind of suffering in the mind like I did years ago. It's like I went beyond the fact that you even need to heal. So I know it's definitely possible. In terms of the comparison of the world, though, I definitely see that there needs to be, for now anyway, two polarities for everything to work. Because if we don't have the good and the bad, how can we really appreciate the good? Like if we was born into a world, everything was perfect, everything was healed, we would be like, we get so bored of it. We like, what do we do with ourselves? But like now, even now, I still realized, even though I went beyond the fact of being in a place where I can really enjoy it, there's still more beyond that. There's always more in the onion layers. There's more to discover, but you can definitely get to that point where now I have no monies about worry at all. I don't care about anything. I just go with the flow. I live in the moment. So I definitely feel like anyone can achieve it. And we all have the same ability within each and all of us. Like we all have our own vision. We can all be a visionary. We can all do it. We just have to go through the process of fears, of healing and self-development. But I know 100% fact we can all do it. But it only happens when you fully commit to yourself and take full responsibility for everything in your life. That's when things really change.
I love that. And I love your energy so much. Thank you so much, Luke, for being with me today and for teaching us so much. Because I know that those who are listening to us, they need to learn about it and they need to apply it. And I have to do it as well. I know that this is a growing path for me as well, and it's never going to be over. I really believe that, as you said, first is small challenges, then there are bigger ones. But in the end, all it matters is to be happy and content with who we are. And this has been my experience actually, when I realized that it's not about achieving something, it's not the destination that matters, but it is the journey. And I can see that you are fully living it. And for those business owners who are not yet there, who are just struggling and fighting with themselves, with their clients, trying to sell something, what would you advise them to do? How can they go back there to being themselves and being happy with who they are? How can they do that in order to achieve that financial success they are dreaming about?
Yeah, so the way I see it is a big part of really not enjoying the journey and really getting attached to the things in the environment. I think a lot of it comes from the ego and our mind being really attached to all these kind of things. So I think it's important to know that if we want to get to a moment where we're just connected to our full self and we're not identifying as just that one person, if we start to identify as a wholeness and we're in it together, we're here to collaborate, we're here to come together. But it is a process of not just saying, oh, I've gone past that in my mind. It's having awareness. It takes time because in order to get to the point where you disidentify as the one body, you have to get to a point where you're surrendering all of these limiting beliefs in the mind, that you fully embody that you never had any beliefs in the way. So it's important to know that you've got to try and find ways where you can reprogram it yourself, like in your own reality and with your own techniques, not depending on another person to change your beliefs for you, but by taking full responsibility and putting so many hours per day for however long, and then when you get to that point, it will allow you to connect to your full vision. It will allow you to achieve balance in your life. I think this is so important, is having balance and having time for you. Because a year ago, I used to work really long hours because I thought I needed to do that to be successful. But that was my conditioning. That wasn't who I was. And the funny thing is, now I have so much balance. I have so much time to myself, but I've got loads of projects on the go, and I get more inspiration because I have the time to me. So it's a very contradictory cycle. We think we need to work hours and hours per day to sell this business, but it's like a cycle that we trick ourselves in, and that blocks us receiving more information because we then become burnt out. But I think it's also important as well, if you're attracting clients and you're wanting to get your ideal clients, this kind of stuff, a business is just our own reflection. So it's important to have awareness. Are you getting clients saying, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough time? What are the excuses? They're only reflecting what you feel from within you. So if they're saying, I don't have money or I don't have this, it's probably because you're emanating some feeling of scarcity energy or survival energy, that you're doing it just for the money. So it's important to know that when you're doing this kind of business, it's to work out how much per month you're making, how much your living expenses are, like your house and your basic needs, then to have an income that provides that without depending on getting clients. Because if you try to get clients and you don't have your own needs met, then you're going to emanate that energy within the people, and they're going to give you all these excuses. Where if you heal it from within, then you're going to get people chasing you, and they're going to be running after you because they want to work with you.
I love this. Thank you so much, Luke. Thank you once again for being with me on this journey and for teaching us so much. I love your energy, and I know that you are so passionate about this topic and that you are helping so many people to become successful and become happier, because this is what it is in the end. Thank you once again for being with me. I would like to close the interview today by asking you, are you serving and how can people contact you?
All kinds of healers, facilitators, coaches, anyone that's trying to help and make a difference in the world. They're connected to their purpose and vision in some way. They're at least started, or there may be a sticking point within that. And anyone that wants to go beyond their limiting beliefs where they can surrender it. linktr.ee/Luke Calladine.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Luke. Thank you once again. I'm going to also add your link so that people who wish to contact you, they can do that.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
For those of you listening to us, stay connected because there is so much more to come.